It's 100 days from the election. 100 days from when America will decide who will be their Ashen One, gaining not only fame and glory, but also America's access to the family atomics. And it's been, let's be honest, a pretty sleeper election. It's been pretty boring, but the entire time, it has had the potential to be a very entertaining election. And over the last month and a half, it has been very entertaining.
Again, confirmation from the White House that President Biden has tested positive for COVID.
Coming on the air with significant breaking news, President Biden will step aside as the presumptive Democratic nominee.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I want to recap you how we got here and what we might be able to expect from the next 100 days. The year is 2023, and Joe Biden's approval rating is low, but could be lower. Joe Biden just walked a picket line with the UAW, showing that he is, let's be honest, probably one of the most pro-union presidents in history. And while the IRA was a massive disappointment and Roe v. Wade being overturned was a real hit to Democratic Party's approval ratings, it doesn't seem like Donald Trump is going to present that much of a threat. After all, we already went through 4 years of him. But in October, once the genocide in Gaza kicked off and Joe Biden really showed his true colors, most Americans who had never been introduced to Israel-Palestine before learned exactly how fucked up our relationship with this country is. In December of 2023, the question of will Joe Biden be running again comes into play, and Joe tells us all that he's going to go on a camping trip with Jill Biden to decide whether or not he's going to run. But Joe Biden did decide to run for president and kind of disappointed everybody, and Democratic Party didn't really hold a primary. The Republican Party primary was basically an audition for an administration or cabinet position or VP. We did get some nice memes out of it, like Day One Ramaswamy. And of course, the anti-vax losers and QAnon holdouts are still riding with RFK Jr., even though it turns out that he had a worm eat part of his brain that he got from eating dog in some foreign country. The International Criminal Court began pursuing arrest warrants against Bibi Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant, a historic moment for Palestinian rights and cause of emancipating the people of Palestine from 75 years of apartheid and ethnic cleansing. South Africa brought forward genocide charges at the International Court of Justice against the State of Israel, and while that case is still ongoing, a separate case against Israel told the state that they needed to evacuate all illegal settlements from the West Bank and pay reparations to the people of Palestine, which, not holding my breath on that one. The U.S. Congress did preempt sanctions against the ICC and the ICJ because no one tells our colonial foothold in the region what to do, except us. Well, kind of, but not since really George W. Bush. But that was only a little pushback. I mean, look at that. Look at this little guy. At this point, the election seemed pretty locked for Donald Trump, as Joe Biden's approval rating had reached lows that really only Donald Trump had gotten to. And then everyone was proven right. When the rematch of the century happens in late June, Joe Biden melted on stage, and 51 million people watched it happen live. Then began 2 weeks of America begging this rotten corpse to please drop out, please resign. Then Joe goes on NBC with Lester Holt to tell him that only God could make him drop out, and it seemed like God was listening because he immediately got COVID. Donald Trump gets shot at a Butler, Pennsylvania rally by a Republican no less, and becomes the newly deified, God-ordained figure for the Republican Party. The entire RNC is a massive hog fest, with stars like Kid Rock, Hulk Hogan, Baby Dog, who, honestly, has my support. But then, Joe Biden drops out, posting a signed statement of his withdrawal from the campaign on his official Twitter account. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu decided to fly to a country that did not have an extradition agreement with the International Criminal Court to address that nation's government. That's right, the modern-day Hitler arrives to D.C. to thunderous applause to just over half of Congress and raucous protests outside of the Capitol. It is worth mentioning that the only congressional representative that is Palestinian, Rashida Tlaib, was present for Netanyahu's speech as she stood in protest to the man that had killed 40,000 of her people and named him as the war criminal he is. So we'll see how the next 100 days pan out. It's a long way to the election, and a lot can happen. But I'll be here every week giving you the updates, and live every day on my Twitch channel on twitch.tv/Gremloe. I'm Austin McNamara, and this is The Lowdown.